tick-tock, it's my clock, telling me I should get up, I should get up.
Hi, and welcome to The Conscious Loop, where woo and the real world collide. I'm your host, Katrina DeAngelis. Join me as we explore what it looks like to live consciously almost always. Each episode, we dive into transforming mindsets and shifting paradigms through topics such as developing self-awareness, living authentically, communication, strengthening relationships, and leading from the inside out. If you're ready to break out of your unconscious loops and discover what else is possible, you came to the right place. You ready? Let's dive in. Tarek! Hello, and welcome back to The Conscious Loop. I'm so excited to have Tarek here today on the show. He is a dear friend of mine. We've had a ton of adventures, travels, and even lived together for a couple months out in the mountains in British Columbia. Through his revolutionary infinity healing modality, he's able to help his clients achieve and manifest their heart's desires with infinite ease and grace, even if they've not been able to achieve their results before. I have personally experienced his absolute magic and wisdom, and he's helped many others leave their jobs that they're not fully aligned with and really step into true alignment, generating 10K months from their ultimate soul's purpose in record time. He is a spiritual empath and artist. He's also an amazing musician. Definitely check out his music. I'll leave that in the show notes. And above all else, he's just an amazing human. So I'm excited to introduce you to him today and dive into the episode. Tarek, welcome to The Conscious Loop.
Thank you. I love the title.
I know, right? I feel like we could just talk for like a whole hour on what that even means to you. Actually, let's start there. What does the conscious loop mean to you? Like when you hear that, what does it mean?
Well, to me, the two O's, I'm seeing them as an infinity symbol, right? As we're evolving and going through our journey, we're increasing our consciousness. And it's not about like a destination. It's about enjoying that journey and continuously evolving. What does it mean to you?
Well, first of all, I love that. And I've never heard anyone answer it that way, but that makes so much sense. I love the infinity. It's always been my favorite symbol. Number 8, infinity, for the same reason. And yeah, we're just like sort of always on this journey. Yes. Oh yeah. Love it. Love it.
Right.
We're always on this journey of self-discovery. It's a never-ending cycle. And I think the most important thing, and we'll probably talk about this in so many ways throughout our conversation, is when something goes from the unconscious to conscious, oftentimes when we're in an unconscious loop, we can be like, I see that as like a bad pattern, a habit, maybe something that is, it's like a limiting belief that's holding us back. And when we make it conscious, we're now operating on this like conscious loop that is like ever evolving and moving forward and growth. And like, it's very regenerative in nature versus limiting beliefs, which not so great.
And just like that, Kat, you have officially won the award for the coolest title for a podcast.
Well, I don't know about that, but I'll take it.
I think that's
I'll take it.
From all the names and titles I've seen, I think that's really deep and very insightful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So I would love to chat with you about, I just love our conversations every time we come together and we get to talk about all things life, relationships, business, consciousness, all of it. I know you really are such a great supporter and coach with people when it comes to especially life purpose and abundance. And so I would love to just start there and then maybe dive a little bit more specific into how that shows up in relationships or rediscovering our why. But let's start with like the basics. What is abundance and life purpose, and how can somebody discover what their life purpose might be?
Yeah, great. I love that question. And yes, I remember a time where I was literally getting fired from the crappiest jobs in Toronto. My first job was below minimum wage. Cat, it was $6.75. $6.75. Graveyard shift. I'd start at midnight and finish at 8 o'clock in the morning. And I was just happy as a 17-year-old. I'm like, I'm making money. I had jobs before, but that was my first one in Canada because I had immigrated from Dubai. So I've been working since I was a kid, like yourself.
Yeah.
The hustler
I started at
mindset.
$9 an hour. So
Fine.
I'm
Okay.
like, that was minimum wage though when I started. So it just
When you
goes to show
started.
how much like it changes. Now it's like $20 probably.
Yeah. But you also worked, when you were younger, right? My parents had me doing commercials and things, and they
That's
got us
so
hustling and
cool.
helping out. Yeah. I had such bad self-worth, self-esteem, self-image, negative self-image, scarcity, that because up until that point, I was getting the lowest grades in school. All my peers they weren't smarter than me. They were getting better grades than me. And school only catered to how
Mm,
much can you memorize and regurgitate. Not the most powerful skill on our
yeah.
planet, but it is a skill.
Yeah.
But like, I have 6 albums worth of rap music. I can rap on the spot. I can chat. I can just freestyle. Entrepreneurs are very like, okay, Kat's strengths are relationships. That's my weakness. Let's collaborate. In school, they call that cheating. So I used to cheat a lot.
Wow. That's an amazing mindset shift right there.
Right? Yeah. It's called collaboration. It's
Yeah.
capitalizing
Yeah.
off of everyone's strengths. And leaders know what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, and know how to bring out the best in everyone and get everyone to work together for the common good. So I was getting the lowest grades, and I felt really, I was also bullied a lot. I was just remembering the other day when a guy's voice cracks from boyhood to manhood, it's supposed to sound something like this. And mine stayed stuck in the Mickey Mouse tone for like a whole year, Cat. It was such a nightmare. So for a whole year, I would talk in
Oh,
front of my peers and they'll all laugh at me, like everyone. Like even the cool guys would laugh at me, the uncool guys are laughing at me, like everyone. For a whole year, it just stayed, and I was getting all these pimples on my face, and I was just like, but I still didn't care. I still showed up, and I would be humiliated, and I just never stopped. I never gave up because you can easily go, I don't want to go to school, which was my
yeah.
first thing that I told my dad when he dropped me off in kindergarten. I was like, Dad, I don't want to go to school. I just intuitively knew it wasn't for me because my
Mm-hmm.
path is spirituality, healer. What's school going to teach
Yeah.
you about that?
Well, it's
So
so true. School is like, it's set up for, I think there's so much innovation like and disruption that can happen there and hopefully
it's
is
happening.
starting to happen
Yeah,
now. But
unschooling movement is huge. Yeah,
yeah. It's very like
Waldorf
one
schools.
size fits all. Like you
Yeah,
should learn this way. And also, I love what you said. Like it really, like school doesn't teach you collaboration, co creation, like leveraging each other's strengths. Like
yeah,
you learn a lot of that in business, but you're not set up for success in school. So I appreciate that reflection.
yeah. And thank you. And there are movements like there's forest schools where they teach kids. We're talking about foraging earlier. Forest schools. There's like wizard schools. Just like all these
Sign me up.
open, sign me up, right? Yeah, magic kids. Yeah, so there are movements shifting and evolving, and old systems are falling apart, new ones are being birthed. And there's great stories of women who were told during the last 3 years that if they didn't get certain things they wouldn't be able to continue being teachers. And then then someone in the community is like, well, who's going to teach the kids who didn't want to do that? And then the
Mm-hmm.
solution was like they'll bring the teacher that doesn't have a job anymore, the kids who don't have a school anymore, and they started these like different schools. So
Solution.
solutions are there. We gotta all of this is happening for us to nudge us to do something if we're feeling
Mm-hmm.
guided to be part of to create a solution for a problem that's there. But anyways,
Yeah.
back to me, I would say low self-esteem, low self-worth. It all started with a prayer. I was in a youth organization and they told us we need to volunteer. So the first step for me was finding something that I can do that's not coming from a place of I need to make money. It's something, the first prayer was, God, universe, show me a career, a job where I can feel I'm contributing my best skills, passionate about it, I'm aligned with it, it fulfills me. Show me what that job is. Because at that time, I didn't even know I could have my own business, right? I was so in the matrix. And then one thing led to another, and volunteered at a school, and I got a job in a daycare, which I was the happiest employee there. I was just during the break, all the employees would sit around. This is like I'm 27 at this time,
Yeah.
and all the teachers are sitting down and they're like, Tark, you don't need to play with the kids all the time. Like, come chill with us and like, let's gossip. And I was like, no, I'm not doing this for them. I'm enjoying it. So
Yes,
all the
yes.
inner child things that I didn't get to, it was a tough childhood. But anyways, that was the first step. So I'm like, okay, now I'm getting paid for something I'm good at and love. Like
Hmm.
parents would come up to me and say, my kid just brags about you all the time. And I felt like that was the first time I got an adult to give me
Mm.
positive criticism.
Confirmation too from the universe, like you're
Yeah,
doing something
the
right,
right
you're on the
thing.
right path. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then I met my ex-wife at the time, back to relationships, right?
Hmm.
Thanks to her, even though her last words to me were, I can't do this anymore, I'm out of here. But thanks to her, we both started our businesses together. So she came in, helped me believe in myself,
Mm.
and inspired me to start my own practice, not knowing what it was. I'm like, we're doing
Mm.
this. She started an art healing space. I started as a hypnotherapist, helping people with hypnotherapy,
Hmm.
and that's all I needed. I was like, I didn't have the money. My mom lent me the 2000. I paid her back. Shout outs to mom.
Thanks, mom.
Yeah, thanks, mom. And that was the best $2,000 investment ever, because I started my hypnotherapy practice and just kept helping people. And everything I figured out, I've been passing it on. So I found my life purpose. It's been 15 years of helping others find their life purpose. I hit six figures when I was broke and on welfare, and I'm
Woo,
continuously helping others. Yeah, hit six figures and beyond. I'm currently interviewing 3 7-figure mentors so I can hit that, so I can help more people achieve that.
amazing.
So I met someone when I was 29 who I was subletting my apartment in Broadview. I left that apartment because I met my ex-wife at the time. We both moved into a new place within 30 days. Highly don't recommend that.
Sometimes it works out. Sam and I was
Sometimes it
after
does
like a
work out.
week or two, but I was like, this could go one of two ways, like really well or poor, very
For you, it
poor.
was after a week or two?
I think, yeah, it was like maybe
Wow,
two
good for
weeks.
you. So
Yeah,
sometimes you
yeah,
do strike gold. There you go.
yeah.
And I subletted my apartment, and there was this Canadian guy who would travel to Australia when it got cold here. And I looked at him as if he was like this genie, this magical being who can work from his phone. This is like not, it's like 2000, no, it's like 19, no, wait, it's like early 2000s. So he'd
Hmm.
have
Hmm.
his like Skype hooked up to his phone, and he would do group calls on his phone. And he had clients all over the world. And for me, my mindset was,
Wow.
I can only make money from people here. So I saw him do that. I was like, universe, show me how I can travel the world and make money online. So when I figured that out, same thing. I've been blessing others to be able to do
Yeah.
everything they need to online and travel wherever
And
they
I
want
love how
to.
you were doing it so early too, right? Like I
Yeah.
feel like now it's normal to see that, but
Common.
to be doing
Yeah.
it early 2000s, like
Yeah.
it's very
Yeah.
rare at that
You're
time. So
right.
ahead of the
And
curve.
what you're right, it was early. And with YouTube, I was like, wow, this is a platform where I can share and reach people. And one of my
Hmm.
videos was me doing magic mushrooms in Thompson Park, or one of those big parks.
Yeah.
And it had like 200,000 views, and all these kids are like, wow, I love how this guy does magic mushrooms really intentionally. This is super early, right?
Wow.
And technically I should have just kept doing drug videos. This is Tarek on ayahuasca. This is Tarek on Cambo. Like a whole
Yeah,
series.
seriously. Oh my
Cat,
gosh.
YouTube sent me my first $200 check, and I was like, wow, I'm getting paid to just be me
Wow.
online. So
Tell me more about that actually, like getting paid to be you, right? Like
yeah,
especially abundance, life purpose, right? Like anchoring. You found this opportunity early on where you sort of anchored into your purpose. And obviously it was a journey, right? There's
yeah,
hard times, there's good times, there's all sorts of times.
yes,
But now getting, your first check from YouTube, starting to
yeah,
get paid for being you, like
yeah,
what is that like? Because I would imagine, it's vulnerable to show up consistently as yourself. Sometimes it can actually be easier to show up as a version of yourself or with a
yeah,
mask, which is, we see that a lot. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's a protection mechanism, right? I
yeah,
can even see myself sometimes when I'm like holding back or
yeah,
not fully being myself because of maybe I'm protecting myself in some way. So,
yeah,
what is that like for you to show up in purpose and attract abundance from that place?
yeah. To quote the movie The Mask, we all wear masks, metaphorically speaking. So Have you seen that movie with Jim Carrey?
I named Milo, like my
Oh
business,
yeah,
and also
that's
my family dog was named after the mask.
what?
Yeah.
Same type
Yeah.
of dog too?
Yeah. Jack Russell.
Oh,
I think
that's
he
so
was Jack
cute,
Russell. Like,
Milo.
yeah.
And it's your company as well?
That's the name of the company. Yeah. We named it Milo after,
I
yeah,
love it.
him.
I love it. There you go. He's here with us in spirit.
Yes, he
So
is.
yeah, I feel like I love, you know how obsessed I am with astrology. You're a Libra sun. I'm an Aries sun in Western astrology. I feel like a whole podcast can be on capitalizing on your strengths. So as a Libra, one of
Mm.
your strengths is the relationships you foster and nurture, and relationship skills in terms of you can give relationship advice till the day you die. Like you just have so much wisdom as a
Mm-hmm.
Libra. Like Aries are just like entertaining. They're just full of fire, full of inspiration. It's never a dull
Mm-hmm.
moment, right? We could just go to a restaurant and it'd be like a whole adventure.
I
Right.
can definitely vouch for that. I'm like,
Yeah.
we lived in the middle of nowhere, like population zero for like 2 months,
Yeah.
and there was never
Oh
a dull
yeah.
moment.
Right? Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's right. Shout outs to Johnson's Landing. So why not find ways to, okay, these are the things that come naturally to me. This is me in my brilliant zone. And there wasn't logic because again, Aries is just do. Let's just do and figure it out. And so, yeah, what are your greatest strengths? Find ways to capitalize to be you. I love rap music. I love poetry. I love
Mm-hmm.
being this like rebellious activist person. I just love being me and I love sharing
Mm-hmm.
who I am with others and I love inspiring others. So I use social media as a way to do that and continue to do that till this day. But they're really getting in my way because they're not happy with some of the things I posted. So like the engagement is less and less, but never give up, stay consistent. So
Yeah.
I would say
Yeah.
consistency is key.
Yeah, I was just going to echo that, the consistency. And also, I love a few things. Like, one, I think it's like you mentioned, it's like an Aries thing where it's sort of just like do and the rest will follow. So
Yeah.
that's, I think, advice that even I'm going to take on, even as a non Aries. It's like, oftentimes we can get in our heads and that
Yeah.
prevents us from taking the step forward. But I think a lot
Yeah.
of your consistency and showing up, it's through that the abundance also follows. Like, it's not because you like perfect every single moment before you go on
Yeah.
camera,
I'm a
because
big teacher, preacher of take imperfect action. That's my
yeah,
medicine for the world. Take
yeah,
imperfect, like purposely let it be imperfect.
yeah, absolutely. And it's never gonna be perfect. So,
Yeah, there is no perfect, but also like somewhere in the middle is healthiest, where it's like you
hmm
have good quality camera, you have a good quality camera, good quality mic, but then
hmm
like right now my background isn't perfect. There's random things behind me. But for me, it's about the content, the energy, the nuggets. So be consistent. So for me, my schedule is like my God. My schedule is like my right hand man because
yeah,
whatever goes there sets what I do. And my calendar tells me every Monday, create social media content and put it out.
hmm
Create enough content for the week. Everyone's going to do it their own way. Like for me, I love going out for walks. And while I go for
hmm
walks, I get these intuitive nudges. So I literally record content on the go sometimes. Whereas someone might need to like lay down, have a bath, and like meditate, and then they get
that's
inspiration.
me.
So,
Yeah,
yeah, that's you, right?
yeah,
Yeah. So find what works for you, but be consistent.
yeah.
Don't give up too early, and like know your why. So my why is like I just discovered my purpose. Like it was so painful to get fired from all these jobs and be told I was a failure all my life. So turn tragedy into triumph. Turn your traumas
Mm.
into your greatest strengths. So now it's like I found my purpose. So for people who are just like they've always had jobs and they're always, for me, I didn't have that. I'm like, finally, I got it. I valued it maybe more than others, and I like fought for it more than others. And yeah.
What about, we had a conversation earlier about rediscovering your why and rediscovering purpose. What can people
Mm.
do to rediscover their why and purpose? Because oftentimes I think our purpose also shifts over time, right? Like, I recently
Mhm.
went through a little bit of a shift as well, where you know me, I've been so attached to my purpose and vision for raising the consciousness through organizations. And
Mhm.
I've recently shifted like more into the beauty industry, which I had to go through sort of like a shedding and a rediscovery of purpose. And I know you recently went through that as well. So I'd love for you to share some of your
Thank you.
experience and maybe what other people can do to help them rediscover their why if they're a little
Great
bit
question. I would say
seeking.
adaptability is probably the greatest skill that we need right now on planet Earth in order to really thrive on our
Hmm.
planet in this new Earth. We need to figure out how to become more adaptive. So it's not that life will not throw us curveballs. It's what do we do every time we fall? And so if you just get used, there's this great movie called The Offer. It's the true story of the making of The Godfather. Amazing. I bought it on YouTube. It's like 7, 8 episodes. But if you study that movie and study the guy's character, the producer is actually a Canadian Jewish producer who goes to Hollywood and produces The Godfather. And it's like
Oh, cool. I didn't
everything
know
you can
that.
think of, Cat, goes wrong. The mafia's against
Yeah.
him, the Italians are against him, the producers are against him. Everything was set up for them to fail. And just seeing this guy's attitude of like, okay, I'll handle it. It'll work out. We'll figure it out. It's just a mindset of everything will be figured out. We're just going to keep moving this forward and things will align. I would say it's really important to know your why. And for me, the why could be a cause. So it could be indirect, meaning I'm doing this thing, which is solving a problem in the marketplace and is making money. And out of the profits that come through, my why is that a percentage of the profits goes to these things that I really care about. So Palestinian blood, maybe some of the money goes to Palestine. For me, as an example, plant animal rights organizations, being veganish.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's changing all the time, Kat.
I know. I'm like, I'm gonna have to follow up on that one because I'm
Yeah.
like, as long as I've known you, it's been pretty vegan.
So all I did is added eggs and fish once a month. It's
Okay.
not,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
we did eat eggs when we
We
lived on
did
the
the
farm.
eggs. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
had fresh eggs like
But they
from the
were happy chicken. They lived a nice
so
life
happy.
with a retirement. It was a retirement farm.
Exactly. And the lady who created it has been raising chickens since she was a kid, and she
Yeah.
just gave them the best food. Happy chickens, happy eggs. So I would say, or your why becomes like, sometimes we get so caught in, okay, I'm not getting enough clients, I'm not making enough money, and then it like lowers your life purpose. I'm bigger on the mindset that I'm going to put out content every single day that's going to change people's lives, whether I'm making money or not. I'm of service. So if you
Yeah.
adopt that mindset of I'm going to create my purpose when I go to the cashier and I say, "Hey, how's your day?" So I'm like spreading love there, and Uber rides turns into a very quick coaching, discover your life purpose conversation without me trying. Like you're living. If you're really embodied and love what you do, it doesn't stop because you love it. So
Yeah.
find the thing you really love that you would do for free, and if you're lucky, not lucky, but if you really pursue it, you will find a way to turn
Hmm.
that passion into your purpose.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
I want to actually reiterate that too, because I think those 2 points are really important. Like, one is it doesn't have to be direct. It can be
Yeah.
you do something to fuel or give back to what you care about, because I think there is this like disconnect. And I know, especially like working with coaching leaders, high potential in like corporate, a lot of the times there's like a disconnect from purpose, like, feeling like, oh, I don't know, but like, I don't really feel connected to my purpose because this job, like, I don't really care about that much. And it's not really about the job. It's about how you get to show up in service. Because
Yeah.
like you said, the conversation with the Uber driver, like whether it's with clients or like just with your team or whoever it is, like you can show up embodying your values and your purpose in any scenario, even if it was a job you hated, right? You can still find a way to be anchored in that purpose.
I love it, Kat. And it's not what you do, it's how you do it. Because I remember I was doing healing work and coaching work, helping most of my clients are women who have traumas. And my specialty is getting to the root of those traumas and healing the inner child. And I noticed I was doing it from a place of I'm going to say yes to every opportunity, which is scarcity mindset. And then I burned myself out. So I became a miserable healer. Whereas the guy who picks up our garbage every Sunday is singing and maybe blessing every home he's picking up the garbage from. And it's like that story goes to show, like, here we are thinking healer is like the most valuable service. Like in my mind, I'm like, it's the most valuable service, but I realize it's not what you do, it's how you're doing it and where you're doing it from. So if I'm doing it from a place of self-love, if I'm doing it from a heart-centered place, you're not in alignment. And this was me in all the jobs, is like I was ripping my soul's, like I was pimping out my soul's energy for money, and then I was trying to use money to buy back some kind of temporary high, artificial high, to make up for the fact that I felt low. And that's when you know you're in the matrix, and there's some soul compromise that's happening that you can't really, no amount of money will help restore that. So that just creates a negative loop, an unconscious
Yeah.
loop, right? So the conscious
Yes.
loop
Yeah.
is like you're just doing that and it's fueling you and feeding you. But really, your
So
ultimate purpose is
important.
check in every moment. What are you needing? Sometimes your ultimate purpose is to go camping for a week and disconnect from the world and connect to nature. You know, every moment it's going to be different. It's a quality, it's a feeling your being's needing. But in terms of work, yeah, step one, ask the universe to show you what are you here to be and do. If it's in the job market, what's the perfect job for me? For example, one of my clients was in a job where she was doing two people's work, two people's jobs, undervalued, underappreciated. Every time it came to salary increase, they were like, yeah, you messed up here, you messed up there. And they'd play these like political mind games. And then when we did some manifestation work, she went from that job to her close friend saying, please come work with me. I have a similar company to what you're doing, room for improvement, less time, more pay, where she's appreciated, and they already want to move her up to manager. So sometimes it could be that it's like sometimes we stay in a negative relationship or job or because we don't know what's on the other side. But when one door closes, when the daycare is like, Tark, we're gonna have to let you go in 2 weeks. We didn't get more funding to fund your position, or some like government position, like government partially funded. I was like, yes, because when I didn't have that job opportunity, the universe was like, hey, here you go. And I said yes to it. And now it's saying, okay, Tarek, your time here is going to close, like this door is going to close, but God closes one door, opens another door, right? So I was so excited. All my employees are like, oh my God, I'm so scared. You know, like they were all freaking out because they didn't have faith and trust. I had faith. Like I have faith tattooed on my chest. So I had faith that the same force that got me this job is now telling me I have something bigger and better for you. So sometimes, and this is a very Aries thing in tarot, it's the Fool card, jump and the net will appear, is really Aries medicine. It's like the Fool just jumps, full faith, has full faith, and the right things will happen. But sometimes the universe doesn't know how serious you are because you didn't sell yourself on it, right? So we got to sell ourselves first. Like, how can we transmit such a powerful force to the universe, to God, that it knows 100% we are committed? We might not have all the details, but we're transmitting a strong force saying 100% yes, I'm doing this. And please help me figure out how to make it financially sustainable.
Yeah. Oh, I would love to dive into that a little bit more too. I love, like, first of all, I love like the just diving in and like the network will appear, right? Like, how do you build that trust, like that relationship with the universe where the universe knows you're diving in, right? The universe knows, like, yes, I'm 100% committed. And how do you know? Like, how do you
Yeah.
discover, like, what is a yes or what is a no? Like, where you mentioned earlier, like, where is it coming from, right? It doesn't matter what you're doing, it matters how you're doing it and where it's
Yeah.
coming from.
Yeah.
So, how do you actually work with the universe to stay on your life's path? And that doesn't mean the easy path, but it means like the path that you are fully and truly aligned with.
Yeah, that's a great question. For me, everything starts with prayer, or if you're more spiritual, it's an intention. I'll share my favorite one. Universe, give me infinite intuitive nudges that get clearer and clearer to the point that I can't help but acknowledge them and follow through on their guidance by taking fast, inspired action if needed. Otherwise, I'm just magnetizing it to my being. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. So you can do that.
Wow.
That's a powerful prayer, right?
Yeah, I'm like, that's like a mic drop. I need like a fake mic so I can do like
Yeah.
mic drop moments, you know? Yeah.
You just press a button and it does the mic drop sound.
Yeah. Mic drop.
Yeah. Because, and when I do that, so faith gets like I started off small. I was like, give me a part-time job. Got the part-time. Like for me, it was the 6 month youth training troubled youth course thing. That was like yes to that. And then that volunteering. And then from volunteering, it was a part-time job at YMCA when I was way younger. And then it was a full-time job at a daycare. And synchronistically, my ex-wife at the time is working with kids as well. And then we both synchronistically, our 1 year contracts end. And then she finds this program where the government pays you a certain amount of money to start a course. So for me, it was the divine feminine in me that was flowing, right? Because the divine feminine magnetizes to her, whereas the divine masculine goes after it. It does require a level of humility, because the humility is saying, I don't know what I'm here to do. And as cocky as I come across, I still had that humility that said at that time, like, I don't know what I'm here to be. I don't know what I'm here to do, which is a step past where most people are, where they're like, oh, yeah, since I was a kid, my dad told me I need to be a doctor. I'm a doctor. That's why I'm going to be a doctor. And it's like, it's like the horses with, when they're racing, they just have the things looking forward. I never had that, because I had I really don't know what I'm here to do. From I don't know, from a place of curiosity, you open yourself up to the infinite possibilities, right? So I definitely had that. So not knowing is a step past knowing, and like pretending you're happy in your relationship or career is going to keep you stuck. So being honest with yourself.
Well, it's like
being open.
outsourcing. Like, I should do this, or this is my values, this is my purpose, this is what I should be doing based on society, culture, family, like what has been given to me, versus step 2 of revolting against that, or being like, no, that's not for me. Being willing to be in the unknown and adaptability, like the adaptability that you mentioned earlier, to figure it out and to see what you like learn what feels good. What's a yes, what's a no, what are you curious about?
Yeah, that's a great point, because I actually did drop out of college. My parents were like, my dad's like, go study marketing. I was like, okay. Like,
so that was your first like pivot, right? Yeah, that was the first
to drop
pivot.
out. Yeah, to drop out. And I think if I really break it down, the main thing I did was, it all started with self-forgiveness. So everything actually started for me when I had MDMA pills. I used to go to this house club every Sunday in Toronto, Adelaide District Club. Back then it was Club District. And then I almost got a heart attack because I was overdoing drugs. I started messing with cocaine. I was eating very unhealthily. Aries is just excess. Like, if you watch the biography of Robert Downey Jr., another Aries, like everything, or Grant Cardone, the YouTube celebrity, is an Aries as well. It's like everything's excess, right? Because the opposite is Libra, which is harmony and balance, right? So the opposite of balance is extremes. So it's overdoing everything.
This is all making sense now.
It's all making sense. So the opposite of that is just overdoing it. And I was overdoing everything, because what's the point of one shot when you can have 2 bottles? And my heart almost stopped. So that was my like wake up call. My heart felt like it was a spasm, but it felt like I was going to die then and there. And I was like, please give me a second chance at life. And then after that, no more cigarettes, no more coke, no more weed, no more, even became vegetarian then. And no bad salts, no bad sugars. Like, it was an extreme pivot from one extreme to another.
Very Aries again.
Very Aries, yeah. Like,
if we're going to do it, we're going to go all in.
But so extreme, Kat. Even at Burning Man, like 4 or 5 years ago, one of our friends in our camp was like, are you going to do any drugs or alcohol? I was like, no, I don't do drugs and alcohol anymore, because I used to overdo it. But it becomes too, like, the middle ground is, where you're wired to be. I was so rigid with my rules that I said yes to this like coffee bean that had THC and CBD in it. And then I was like, all right, I'll break my rule. And it was the best night ever. I was like freestyling the whole time. And it just like activated all this flow. But to drop out of college, so when you're in alignment and misalignment, and you can't use logic to move forward with intuition. The intuition is the divine feminine speaking. It's your spirit. It whispers, and there's no logical reason. You can be with someone that you love and they love you, and you guys are happy together, and your intuition's like, yeah, you need to leave this person. There's no, and for me, it was like fast action, because if you don't take fast action, you're going to get stuck in your thoughts. So the beauty of fast action is your actions beat that. There's like a certain time, if you do it right away, it's easier. It's like when you're about to jump
Yeah.
off into like
I was
water.
just thinking that, like, yeah,
Really?
because I was like, wow, I like as soon as I start to hesitate with any decision, it's like game over. Like it could
Nightmare.
be
Yeah.
months, like
Yeah.
months of like frustration, thought loops, like all these horrible things. And then I
Yeah.
thought, as soon as you said that, I was like, oh, but like every time, if I just like jump off the cliff, like really fast,
Yeah.
like literally like actual cliff into water, it's like
Yeah.
fine. But the
Yeah.
second I hesitate,
Torture.
I don't even like, I can't even go. I'm like, that's it, going backwards. Like,
What a beautiful metaphor for life, right?
yeah. Yeah.
But try to get me to go down a mountain, a ski called.
Skiing down a mountain.
I still didn't conquer that one, Kat.
That's like the one time you don't act fast. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like Mr. Aries, Mr. Act Fast. I'm like, I'm scared to go down this
Yeah.
hill. It's so steep. Do you remember that story?
Well,
and this little,
I remember you like pizza the whole way down.
I
It was,
pizzaed the whole way.
yeah.
And this little girl, you just went past, and this little girl, like literally, she's like this tiny on skis. And she's like, I was scared my first time too. Don't worry, it'll be okay. And then she just goes down.
That was so good. I remember that. Oh my gosh. And didn't like that help you? Like, wasn't it like what you needed to hear? And it like actually, I remember, yeah.
100%. Like
this
that
like
was my inner child.
4-year-old, yeah, is just giving you life advice, and it
She's
worked.
like an angel. Exactly.
Yeah.
So there you go. The harder you wait, for me, the one that's torture is if I'm feeling an attraction to a woman and every part of me is saying, or even if I'm just feeling my intuition saying, connect with this person. And then all my rejection programs kick in. If they're louder than my spirit that's saying, reach out to this person. If I freeze, it's a nightmare. It's the worst feeling. So the more we can do those fast inspired actions, they'll lead to great things. And I also believe we're in a matrix reality and everyone has codes for us. So if you remember the unified heart field, right? So expanding your heart, there's the Heart Math Institute. Go there, do their heart math meditations, connect with your heart because it's way more powerful than your head. Then people will come into your life to give you the codes. Everyone's got medicine for you, but we're responsible to like, oh, something's telling me I need to connect with this person. And then they could be your client or hook you up with a whole bunch of clients or give you advice about your business. So try to look at life as everything's happening for us. That's another thing. I had to shift out of victim consciousness into creator consciousness, which meant life is not happening to me. Life is happening for me. And if you assume everything's happening for you, then you have more faith and trust because everything's nudging you towards your path.
And not overthinking it because, those nudges, like, people coming your way or whatever it is. I think oftentimes I find myself like maybe not talking to somebody that I bump into at the coffee shop or, like these little things where it feels like the universe is giving me these nudges, but we can get so in our own world that we're not even looking for that. But it's like, you don't need to know what's going to happen next, but just trust that somebody's entering your life for a reason. Who knows what it will be. And so
I always tell the students that I mentor, Kat, that you're responsible. Not only will it help the people that in that example in the coffee shop, but we're responsible to let the people around us know, especially the random ones, because they're really not random. We're responsible to let them know what we're here to, like what medicine we have for them, what gifts we have for them, especially when your products and services and company and your businesses are connected to you and your soul's mission. It's almost our responsibility to say, hey, by the way, my name is Kat. I have this awesome podcast. I have these awesome natural products. Whatever we do, because for all we know, the universe is bringing to us all the people who are requiring or desiring our products or services.
Yeah.
And so the universe brings us together, but it requires one person. So let us be that person who just, and a really great way to do it is ask them about themselves. Like, hey, what do you do? Like, what are your passions? And they're naturally going to ask you. And from that conversation, magic can happen.
Yeah. So important. And I think like that's part of, showing up authentically, right? Like not hiding parts of ourselves. And so I love that message is so important, like, especially with the sales. Like I know for me, I've, hid what I do. So like so often I'll have conversations with people that I've met like so many times and they're like, oh, I didn't even know that you did that. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
like, you know,
That's
and it's just,
feedback.
yeah, for sure. For sure.
Constructive
And
feedback.
one thing I feel like we've went into this naturally, like life purpose, right? And like showing up in service and in alignment with life purpose and abundance, right? Because if we're showing up in life purpose and scarcity, you know, what does that look like versus in purpose and abundance? Because you mentioned earlier being a healer and working with clients, but they weren't the right people and you were miserable, you know, like the garbage, the person picking up the garbage was more happy and excited and thrilled for life. So I feel like that's like your purpose, but you're not maybe necessarily in the frequency of abundance. So how does abundance really tie in with life purpose?
Yeah, great. I love that question. And so I think I didn't conclude another story. So the MDMA thing was my guidance saying take a pill a day
Mm.
therapeutically, which I've never done before. That now it's very common. This
Yeah,
is
now
like in
there's lots of
2000.
research on that.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was 2005, Kat. My guidance was saying, take a
Wow.
pill a day, journal. I was like, before I was so-called spiritual, or like I'd have incense sticks, I'd play Enya, which is like this foresty fairy music. Like I'd have baths and candles and like, and no one modeled that for me. And I'll do the MDMA and be in a bathtub and I would just like journal, break free from the matrix. Who has power over me? Society, culture, religion, parents, like government. I was just like breaking out of these like constructs just from MDMA and setting an intention. It's, you don't need more than mushrooms to really do the inner work, but it all starts with inner work. And it all led me to, oh shit, I'm holding on to not for like, I'm holding on to grudges towards my dad, my older brother, and my mother. And a lot of times I created those stories, not based on sometimes based on what they did, but also like I came up with stories. Like I created the stories that said my dad hates my guts, which is not true. Because when I finally confronted him, like after doing those 7 days of MDMA, my next step was confront. And when I confronted, he emailed me back. He was in Dubai, I was in Toronto. He was like, I don't hate you. I actually really love you. I see a lot of me in you. My parents were very tough on me, and I wanted to make sure I was better than they were. So, my standards as a soul from wherever I came from, planet love, let's say. Some
Makes
psychic told
sense.
me,
Yeah.
yeah, some psychic was like, Tarek, you came from the planet John Lennon came from. I was like, that makes a lot of sense.
I love that. Also, what a compliment. I see that too.
Yeah. Yeah. Fellow Libra, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we
Another
have the same
power.
birthday actually.
No way.
I think so.
Seriously?
Maybe one day off. Yeah.
Wow, that's so cool. My same day is Harry Houdini, the world's America's greatest magician back in the days.
That's cool. I
Yeah,
see
yeah,
that too.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's another timeline.
Yeah.
In another timeline, I was a magician. So I would say abundance. So inner work, forgiving those that you're holding a grudge towards, and then fast forward 3 years later, ayahuasca tells me forgive yourself. So I had to forgive myself. I had to forgive others. And with abundance, the thing that changed my life, and it was during being broke, $30,000 of debt, saying it was like the Yes Man movie really inspired me, that Jim Carrey really influenced
Oh,
me,
such a good movie. Yeah.
right? I was saying yes to everything. And then it's like this guy would do a presentation. Hey, join Prime America, create your own hours, be your own boss, sign me up. Hey, join our health MLM company that creates health products and you get passive income and we send you clients, sign me up. Like $2,000, I'd be like, yes.
Yeah.
And I realized are we buying into other people's dreams? Like those MLM companies work when the person is like, oh my God, so I share these health products with my mom. She cured her cancer. The family's happy. Like when a
Mm-hmm.
person's fully aligned with those opportunities, it works for them. But if you're only doing it for the money, it might not be aligned. So I bought into all these other people's dreams. And then I had to go, what is my dream? And when I bought into my dream, everything changed. So, but you do the inner work, you do the forgiveness work, which is the heart and soul of every infinity healing session that I do. So I also created my own modality called infinity healing. That's been voted one of the most powerful healing modalities by women who've worked with all the healers out there on
I love it.
telesummits.
Maybe we should do
Yeah,
like a sneak peek of it at the end of this.
we
I always
will.
love
And
your
if there's something
infinity
specific
healing
you'd like
sessions.
with life purpose or abundance, I'm happy to give that to you as a thank you
Yes.
for this
Oh,
opportunity.
thank you.
We'll definitely do that. So I would say then working on your scarcity mindset. So I grew up with a very strong scarcity mindset. And I had to clear my financial karma. So I stole money as a kid from my parents. I stole, stickers from the grocery store as a kid. I stole food when I was broken on welfare from the grocery stores. So I reached out to every single one of those people and I said, hey, I stole this amount of money from you. I want to give it back. So it's like clearing your karma. You can do this with
Wow.
relationships, with exes. You can
Hmm.
do it with things you've done in the past that you're still feeling bad about. And then everything shifted. And then finding a mentor. So I had, first of all, yeah, I created a program called Thrive Doing What You Love Now, which we just promoted 2 days ago on a summit. It's like my life work in one program, and
Hmm.
it's available for $97. And
We got to
in
share
it,
that in the show notes.
yeah, thank you. In it, I worked on scarcity, lack, receptivity, not feeling good enough, not feeling worthy, not feeling deserving, which is very heart chakra related. So, I feel like practicing receiving, like when people say, like if I go, thank you, Kat, for having me on your podcast, most people go, no. So first they block the thank you. Gratitude is a high frequency. And they go, thank you for being on I call it ping ponging gratitude. So step one is just receive those gratitudes, breathe it in and just be like, you're welcome. Like in that moment, someone's gifting it to you. So instead of immediately making it about like flipping it, like receive it in that moment. Someone opens the door for you, receive it. Someone gives you a compliment, receive it. Like I actually gave you a compliment at the beginning. I was like, you got the best title for your podcast. And you're like, I don't know about that.
Oh
So,
yeah,
you
that's
know what
so
I mean? Like
true.
we
Yeah,
all
like
do
our
it.
our natural instinct is to like feel
Not
almost guilty about receiving that. Like, oh, I don't know,
exactly.
like it's like an ego thing maybe. It's like I don't
Yeah.
want if I receive it, is that me being in my ego? But like no, like
Yeah.
it's just like receiving a gift,
Thank
Like
you.
if
I
somebody
love
gave you a
that.
physical gift, you wouldn't just be like,
Turn
"Oh
it
no,
down.
thank you." Like that would be pretty
Yeah,
rude.
exactly.
Yeah.
I love that you
Yeah.
said that because when I teach my students, I go, when someone gifts you a thank you or a compliment, it's your birthday and they're giving you a birthday gift. How funny would it be if it's your birthday and someone's giving it happy birthday, Cat, and you're like, no, happy birthday, Tark. I'm like, it's not my birthday. Like it doesn't make sense. It's your
Yeah, here,
birthday
let
in
me
this
give
moment.
give you that right back to you. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and so scarcity, yeah, just receptivity is part of scarcity, feeling good enough. So I had to do these affirmations. I'd write them. This one says dentist, but I would write down like an affirm goal card, or what do they call these?
Cue card.
Cue cards. Thank you. And I'd have one for money. I'd be like, I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm experiencing infinite financial freedom, empowerment, sovereignty, clients that are perfect for me and I'm perfect to them. I'm so happy and grateful for making 10,000, 20,000, 30,000. I'll go through all the numbers, 50,000 a month. I'm
Mm.
so happy and grateful for creating tremendous value, for my clients. And, they have transformations with ease and grace. So I would read that every day. And I'd listen. The first program I created was a hypnosis program called the Infinite Abundance Program. I still listen to it 15 years later. So if
Wow.
you're not listening to hypnosis audios while you're sleeping, you're missing out on the best opportunity to program your mind to manifest what you're wanting. So
Yeah.
either record it yourself and play it while you're sleeping, or on low. It doesn't need to be loud.
That's what we call a good unconscious loop to be playing in the back of your mind. So there
Yes.
is such thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Stay tuned for the Conscious Loop app coming soon.
Yeah. Featuring the abundance, infinite abundance track.
Yes. And then everyone else can add to it. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, scarcity, abundance. Yeah, because if when we first start our entrepreneurial journey, it's like anyone would be great. But for me, the fastest hack is finding someone who's where you want to be and
Hmm.
really investing with them. So,
Yeah.
for example, when I was broken on welfare, I asked the universe, show me how can I get to my financial goals, and it was like all these synchronicities that led to me going to Chicago and meeting my first mentor, who was this Leo guy in Chicago who works with healers. So the lesson I learned is we ask for help, meaning we pray
Hmm.
for it. Every prayer is answered. Are we listening to it? Are we following through on it? Are we receiving it? So what the unconscious loop that I was in was I asked for help. It came my way. I got afraid and ran away. And I would just keep doing that
Wow.
every single time. It even rhymes. And then how I broke that unconscious loop was I asked for help. It came my way. It terrified me. And I said yes. So there's a book
Mm.
called Feel the Fear and Say Yes or something like
Mhm.
that. And I
Mhm.
never read the book, but I knew that it was on my list. And I was like, I'm just going
Yeah.
to take that nugget just off
All
the
you had to
title
do
right
was
there.
like embody the title, and
Yeah,
that's all you needed.
exactly. Like in the Matrix when it's like, I know Kung Fu. I was like, I know the wisdom of this book. I downloaded it. And so Feel the Fear and Still Say Yes was probably the biggest game changer because I'm right there. I said yes to it. I called the organizer. He told me there's a group coming from Toronto to Chicago. Got a ride with them. I didn't have money for the hotel. I even hustled them to stay, like to sleep on the couch. Three older women let me stay on the
Wow.
couch, cat. And then
Amazing.
I
Shout
see the
out to those
guy.
women.
Shout out to those women. It was amazing. And they worked at a church, but they had more conspiracy theory content on their flash drive than I've ever seen in my life. I'm like, what kind of church people are you? This is awesome. They had all the
Wow.
suppressed information that no one knew. I was terrified because I'm speaking to my mentor. I see I was like, no, I just want to do the 3 days. It's like, we're going to take someone and we're going to take 10 of you and work with you. And there's like 100 American healer women in this conference for 3 days. And in my mind, I'm like, that's it. I'm here for the 3 days. I'm going to implement everything he says in this workshop and I'm going to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
But really, the gift was to say yes to him. And he's like, are you good? And I kept, everywhere I went, Kat, I would see him. I'd go to the washroom, he'd be there. I'd go to the elevator, he'd be there. You know, when you're resisting something, like I didn't
Yeah.
want to see him because I was like, I don't want to say yes to you, but I know I should.
Yeah.
So I was trying to hide from him. So I learned another quotable: the bigger the resistance, the bigger the transformation on the other side. Biggest, like till
Mm.
this day, I use that as a gauge for where the universe wants me to go. So if I'm resisting it so strongly from my ego, that means my ego is scared of all the breakthroughs and transformations that are going to happen when I say yes to that. Because the ego's
Wow.
comfortable in its comfort zone, right? It wants to stay here in the comfort zone where it thinks it's safe. So anything outside of the comfort zone it's going to perceive as a threat, even though it's going to be the best thing that's going to change your life. So having a healthy relationship with your ego, overriding the ego program with your heart, with your faith, with your trust, with your intuitive inspired action, with your heart. And finally, he was like, "You're going to do this or not?" And smashes the pen in front of me. It's like reverse psychology. And I was like, "Yeah, I want to do this." So I signed up 500 a month. At that time, I was making negative 200 a month because a welfare barely covered my rent.
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
And
Wow.
and so since then, I've been blessing that forward. I know those moments when someone's like, Tarek, I'm broke and I don't have money. And that's like 90% of my clients start off telling me I don't have money. And then we
Mm-hmm.
find a way because I know that's not really an excuse. There's always a way to make it happen. And so the gift he gave me is write 5 to 10 ways you can make an extra 500 a month and circle the one that's easiest. So part of scarcity for me is believing there are limited resources on our planet. But when you look at nature, there's an infinite supply of, like there's a tree in front of me, squirrels and birds and bugs and insects, and just like an infinite
Yeah.
abundance of
Like
everything
nature
they
is
need.
inherently abundant and
Exactly.
regenerative. So,
Exactly. And
yeah.
if we want, and if we're part of Mother Earth and nature, we just need to re-plug into the natural way of doing things, which is abundant. It is natural to be abundant. Look at a tree, continues to grow higher and higher. No one's like, who do you think you are? Why are you so greedy, sucking up more energy from the sun or more soil from like more
Yeah.
nutrients from the soil? What
And the
about us
beautiful
little
thing
trees?
too about trees is like they grow so big and so tall and so strong, and they like move around the other trees to allow the other trees to have equal space to grow. So if you look at two
Whoa,
trees that are like
symbiotic.
side by side, you'll see the branches and stuff like growing around the other tree. So it naturally knows to just allow both trees to take up space.
That is beautiful. I never knew that, Kat.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. Like
Wow.
now, look at the trees like that when you
With
go into a
that,
forest, and you'll start to notice like that they, yeah, grow sort of,
symbiotic.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
beautiful. I love it. There you go. So we're not taking away from anyone because I had that scarcity mindset. I remember looking at a homeless guy being like, I feel bad that I'm making more money than this homeless guy when I was broke and on welfare. And I literally started thinking maybe I should go live in a tent with the homeless people. I found this beautiful area no one lived in, a bunch of homeless people lived in. I was like, maybe I should do that in order for justice and for me not to be better than. I was always taught as a kid, God created us all equal and no one's better than anyone else. So that program got to me, but I had to break through that. I'm not helping anyone by lowering my ability
Mm-hmm.
to receive. So I would
Yeah.
say 100% hire someone who's NLP or hypnosis or the infinity healing that I do. Get rid of all those limiting beliefs, fears, emotions, root traumas, ancestral blockages. Sometimes we pass it on, from our ancestral lineage. You've got some Irish DNA. The Irish people went through a lot. I've got Middle Eastern DNA. Those guys, we've been through a lot, still are going through a lot. So for all we know, we might be replaying some kind of survival, scarcity, war, famine in your case, war in my case. So we're here to alchemize that for our ancestral lineage, especially when it keeps happening. It's like journaling really helps you figure out what those patterns are. And you can definitely shift out of that. And nature is abundant. There's more than enough for everyone. And the best thing you can do, the more you receive, the more you can give back. So continuously receive as much as you can. And then you're going to give from the overflow. And I hate it when people say, I don't want to make more than what I just need to survive. But that very thought is only thinking about yourself. So if you're able to walk, able to
Yeah.
talk, access to internet, you know, mic
For those people not watching the video, gonna be like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, mic drop." Like
It's a
you
visual mic
only
drop.
wanting to make like enough for you to not be greedy
It's
is
selfish.
actually selfish. You're
Very
only thinking
selfish.
about
You're only thinking
yourself.
about
Wow.
yourself, and you will be a miserable person. Like, the stories when someone gets a child, and then there's this whole initiation where you're now more purposeful living or more deeper. Your why becomes so much stronger. Your purpose for living and your why gets so much stronger when there's a child involved. Why? Because now it's not just about you. So how can you adopt that, and have someone else benefit from your wins because it's not just
Yeah.
about you.
Like it's
and
never
and
just
then
about you, never just about me.
it's bigger than
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Wow.
don't, keep making more and more money, not because you need it. If you only need 50% of the money you make, we'll give away the other 50. But like, how much money we can receive, I think it's our birthright to win in the game of money, to win in the game of life, to win in the game of spirituality. Like, they're all games. And if we're here to play the games, like when I was a kid, I'd play the game of life, even though I could make, I don't know if it was like 4,000 if I was a doctor. I always chose teacher, even as a kid when I was playing this board game of life, because I knew I liked teaching. And when we lost in the game of Monopoly, we knew it was a game. We didn't take it too serious. So, but
Yeah.
if you are going to play the game, why not play it to win? Because without it, you can win in the game of money and life without being attached to winning. I think the love of money is the root of all evil. A lot of people misquote it.
Mm-hmm.
They say the love of money in the Bible is the root of all evil, is the root of all evil. But almost the lust for money, when we're talking about what your product is helping with, this like the shadow side of capitalism, the lust of money, the love of money in that way, where it's like over money over everything. I wouldn't say it's evil, but it's causing so much evil. So shifting
Yeah.
into the
Like
mindset.
money is not evil, abundance is not evil. But there's a quote as well, similar. It's like, it's the difference between the love of power and the power of love. Like, it's like, are you doing it from a place of love, or are you doing it from a place of like, I just love power? Right.
Yeah.
And it's going back to what you said earlier, it's like, where is it coming from?
Yeah.
And yeah, the overflow, like that's all how you can also be of service. Like your overflow is your opportunity to show up of service
Yeah.
because you
Yeah.
filled up your cup and now you get to be of service, right? So,
Yeah.
so important, such a mindset
Yeah, Kat.
shift.
I love that. And when I said yes to my mentor, guess what? Now every single client that I work with is going to reap the rewards and the benefits of me taking that field of fear and still say yes. So every time,
Yeah.
you're the warrior, you're the superhero, you're the heroine and hero of your journey, of your life. You are that superhero. So play that role. Like, if we are in a simulation, you're the superstar of your show. So act accordingly.
Act accordingly. I like it. I'm gonna
Like,
I'm gonna write that down as my affirmation. Like, act accordingly. You are the superhero of your
superstar.
life.
Yeah,
Act
yeah.
accordingly.
Yes. I love it. Let's get that on a shirt real quick.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh, I love it. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
you're not
Wow.
when I worked as a background actor, when I was trying every job I can imagine, and I wasn't meant to be a background actor. I was meant to be, the front
Mm,
stage actor of my life.
yeah.
And you got to believe in yourself. You got to keep doing it even if if things don't work. Like some of the greatest podcasts out there right now, they've been the first 2 3 years. It was like Jay Shetty's
Hmm.
podcast. I think it's voted
Yeah.
#1. He's a
Yeah.
Libra. No, he's a Virgo.
Great
Sorry.
podcast.
Yeah. So there you go. So his podcast is the best one in, I don't know, spirituality, let's say, or personal
Hmm.
development, #1.
Hmm.
And he's a Virgo. Virgos love information. So his mind's getting so turned on every show because he's
Yeah.
gathering up more and more info.
It
And it's
doesn't
all about the
drain
stats.
him.
Yeah.
And I think that's
So,
another part too, right? It's like you said, leveraging your strengths and then
yeah.
leveraging the strengths of others. It's like, what gives you energy and how can you do
Yeah.
more of that?
Yeah.
And the ripple of impact will come, right? Like
Yeah.
success, abundance, when you're showing up in that place. And
Yes.
okay, one question I have for you, because I love this, like that one of the things that you just said that was a quote was the main like going from backup actor to main character, right, of your life in a way. So how did you make that transition? This will be my last question, unless there's anything else you want to share, because I feel like it's such a powerful one for like, how can people go from being a backup dancer, backup actor, background actor, to main character, to front and center of their life?
Yes. I would say not everyone is best in that role. Like you're still the hero, heroine of your story, but some people thrive being the person who helps the organization function better, right? They need to be in a team. They need to play their role in a team. Some people are wired that they're the innovators, but they're terrible with follow through. Some people are the visionaries, but have no like grounded skills. Like everyone has their superpower. Find out what yours is. It's totally okay if some people are there to be angels for other people. Like it's just not in my reality, so it feels like an alien concept. But like I am an angel to other people, but like to be a behind the scenes angel that no one knows about doesn't feel like, you'll know when it feels like you're hiding or playing it small or playing it safe. So, but some people are like, hey, this guy's a superstar, and I just want to be a part of this superstar's world. And if they're background singers for a Bob Marley and a Michael Jackson or whoever back in the days, like maybe that was it. But when you feel, who was it? I think it was, who was it whose mom could have traveled with some like big names and chose to stay at home? And oh, I'm thinking about a rapper it's a Libra rapper who won Rhythm and Rhyme. Anyways, it's a Netflix show. He won as a contestant. His mom, that was a special example because his mom left the music industry to give birth to these beautiful children. Lauryn Hill, at her height in her career, left the music industry and made her priority being a mother. So Sarah McLachlan from Canada left the music industry at one point, made the priority children. So I can't say one for all kind of general thing, but sometimes it's the other way around. Really? Motherhood? Yes, motherhood. What's the high? Society doesn't put that on the pedestal that it deserves to be, but motherhood, birthing a child into this world. Every woman who does that, I'm like, just like honor, bow down, respect. How can I support you? Like it's just an immediate.
It's so funny because I feel like the world glorifies like, oh, like like she succeeded in her career, like climbed the corporate ladder, and she even did it while she had children, rather than like she was, such a good mom. Look at this. She took time away from work and she still succeeded, like that ripple of like, you can still have that impact of success in all areas, but I feel like one gets glorified and like 100%. The other one is sort of a byproduct. And so it's a big
we
point.
have to decide what's success for us. And
Yeah.
when you're like, there are people who are like, on paper, wife, home, kids, job, car, on paper, everything looks good. But guess what? All those things that you just said, Hollywood told you that's what success is. So that's why people, when they achieve what they think they're supposed to achieve, like there's stories of Olympic athletes that win the gold medal and go into
Yeah.
deep, dark depressions because society told them you got to be number one and win the medal. No kid's like, I want to win the medal. Like maybe some kids are, but that's an ego thing. So as long as it's from
Yeah.
the ego, as long as you're just chasing paper, what, if I gave you this piece of paper right now, would that fulfill you in any way? No, because it's a piece of paper. But if it has like a president, I need to go see my dentist. That's what that
I'm going to follow up
is.
with you tomorrow. Did you go to the dentist
Yes,
yet?
please. I need accountability. I need help. If you decide it, you'll know when it's not fulfilling because it's an inner thing. So our real purpose is going in and saying, am I feeling really fulfilled right now? You know? And I'll conclude with, definitely read the book 10X,
Oh,
Grant
I love
Cardone.
that book. Yeah.
Yeah, and 100% watch Secret Billionaire.
Hmm.
Go on YouTube, type in Secret Billionaire Grant Cardone. There's a guy who's a 10X mentor who uploaded the behind the scenes that Grant Cardone shares on his website. But just again, it's Aries. His birthday's 2 days before mine, so it's the Aries cusp Pisces. But again, his mindset, you'll see it played out in his show. He goes into Pueblo, California. No one knows him. $100 in his pocket. In 3 or 6 months, he makes $1 million. And the mindset, abundance mindset, is I'm going to have multiple streams of income. I'm going to have multiple businesses. I'm going to have multiple ways for me to capitalize off my gifts, talents, and abilities. So I'm
Hmm.
going to put my content out in multiple ways. I'm going to attract clients, and I have multiple strategies to bring more clients.
Hmm.
Because if one business fails, you're screwed. Like for some people, COVID, when it failed, when lockdowns happen, if all their chips were on one thing, they lose. But if they have it in multiple ways, you have more opportunities to win in the game of life and the
Yeah.
game of money. So just having that mindset of, and I love his mindset of, okay, you want to make, like last month, my goal was to get back in flow. I lost my flow and I'm like, get back to 10K. I was close to that. And then this month I'm like 100K. So I'm literally embodying that. Why are we aiming for something so comfortable? And it's the mindset of, when you aim for something outside of your comfort zone, it needs to be challenging. It needs to scare you a little bit, because that's where, for some of us, again, in me, I need more challenges. I need the bigger the challenge, the more exciting. And what you do for yourself, you're going to do for others. And I'll just share real quick. Vanessa reached out, a friend of mine, fellow Libran, been helping
Hmm.
her out for 5 years now, just sharing all this information. Everything I learn, I share it with my friends. And then 5 years later, I ended up back in Hamilton, and she was like, I'm still sharing stuff with her, and she's still similar to where she was at before, not super satisfied with her work, not making money out of her gifts. And I'm seeing all her gifts around me, like herbologist, she's an artist, she's this. I'm seeing, because I was living with her for a few months. And then she signed up to work with me, and same formula I learned from my mentor. I was like, let's figure out your price because you're undercharging. Let's create a 6 month package for you. We created it,
Hmm.
500 a month for each client. She reached, and then the next step is we create your client list. Who would want to work with you? Let's write a list of people who are potential clients. She called the first couple that wanted to work with her in the past, offered them the 500 a month each for this relationship package, and signed up both of them from her first
Wow.
call after we cleared all the abundance mindset stuff. And she basically generated 6,000 in sales from one call, from her first sales call. So I just
Wow.
want to say that this is possible. And
Amazing.
sometimes you just need
Yeah.
someone who's done it to
Yeah.
transfer. There's a transference that happens where the confidence gets transferred, the belief in self gets transferred.
Yeah. And the
And really,
accountability too. And like
accountability.
working with someone on those things. Cause sometimes like having a conversation, learning the tools, that's one part of it. But like having the clear steps forward and the strategy and the accountability, the responsibility, like all of that is like the icing on the cake. And thinking bigger, like how having somebody else think bigger. Cause like you said, 10K versus 100K, it requires a completely different mindset and strategy to do 10K months versus 100K months. So it's like you're actually answering different questions and putting into place a different strategy. And so it's huge and it's hard to do on your own.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, my friend told me to use the word challenging versus hard, because challenging for me, again, I love challenges, whereas something being hard doesn't feel good, but
like
challenging
a
is
challenge
like
is like
keeps
fun. You get to figure it out.
exactly. It's a game,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I hear you 100%. It's a whole different game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Lots of wisdom, lots of golden nuggets, lots of mic drops.
So many mic drop moments. Oh my gosh. I feel like I've learned so much and I've taken,
Yeah.
even myself, like I've taken so much away, and I love all your stories. And yeah, even getting to hear more about your journey. You know, I've heard bits and pieces, of course, through our friendship, but I feel like I've learned even more about you. So that's amazing.
Thanks,
And I
Kat.
appreciate it. I love your
Thank you.
vulnerability, your honesty, your candidness, willingness to just always share and encourage and support, and always bringing the life to the party and the love to the party, which makes sense because you're from Planet Love. So thank you.
I feel so sweet. Thanks, Kat. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. And yeah, just imagine a world where everyone's only doing what they love and it's their brilliance zone, it's their ultimate soul offering, and we're all doing that and we're all thriving from it. And I'm part of that solution. I just found one problem in the world and I'm happy to just dedicate my energy to that.
Yeah.
And it works. Like I am a musician. I've got paid, I'm going to a festival this weekend. They're paying me to perform music. So you can get paid from your creativity. And then I have been helping people heal trauma for the last 15 years. So I have found a way to generate income from what empaths do naturally. Empaths by default are healers. And I was like, I'm not going to continue doing that for free. I'm going to get paid for it. And then I love mentoring because I've learned 15 years of business. I realized that's a bigger challenge for me. But it's really important, especially in the last 3 years, really getting clear on the why, really finding out because when one door closes, another one opens. So does the universe have something completely, maybe something that's never been done before, and it's like in your heart to birth that? But
that's
got
me.
this.
Oh, I love that. Like I love to like birth new things, like create new ways of being, thinking, being, like, creating. And then there's people who are really good at responding like to things and knowing like, oh, that's a yes for me. I need to do that. Like I need to be a part. I need to like lead that. And there's just different ways. And so it's about figuring out what that way is for you and saying no to things too, because you said that earlier. And I know there's so many things that we could have dove into more to talk about, but that stuck out to me as well. It's like you were saying yes to everything, like all of like the MLM, like these different strategies, ways of making money. And it's like, so you had that like drive and had to redirect so that it was actually in service to your highest self, in service to your, your purpose, which is where we started, right? Purpose.
Yeah, Kat. Should we conclude with an infinity healing?
Sure. All right. Let's do it.
Like a minute, 2 minutes. You're good for that?
Yeah. Just like a minute is perfect.
Yeah. Minute. Perfect.
However long, a minute to 2 minutes.
We've been here for a while. So I normally spend a whole hour or sometimes 30 minutes doing like 30 minutes of infinity healings on a session, or an hour. It's really intense. Mm-hmm. It's also on every audio. I've got 14 audio healing programs that you guys can receive, which will have, way more than what we can do in this 1 minute. But for now, based on the nuggets
feel free
of wisdom,
do whatever feels good to come up. Yeah.
Don't
limit yourself.
Okay, won't. Okay. So starting now, would you like Source, God, Universe to powerfully and intentionally connect to you and clear everything in the way of you being able to receive all that wants to be received by your heart, by your being, by your soul? Would you like that?
Yes.
Yes. And by saying yes, you're giving Source, God, Universe permission to do infinite things for you. This includes letting go of limiting beliefs, fears, emotions, root traumas, and replacing them with what is for your highest good, empowering beliefs, in higher frequency emotions, and just restoring and alchemizing any trauma. So starting now, would you like an infinity healing to gain infinite clarity on who you're here to be, and what you're here to do? Would you like an infinity healing activation for that?
Yes.
Yes. Would you like an infinity healing to take inspired action when needed?
Hell yeah.
Yes. Would you like an infinity healing to clear self-doubt, self-worth, not good enough, not worthy, not deserving?
Yes, please.
Yes. Would you like an infinity healing to shift out of scarcity mindset into prosperity consciousness as your new default setting?
Yes.
Would you like an infinity healing to shift out of victim consciousness and have your new default setting be creator consciousness?
Yes.
Would you like an infinity healing to heal and harmonize and balance and integrate any overthinking and have an activation that our higher mind is in alignment with our heart, is in alignment with our actions, that, you know, all aspects of self are congruently in harmony, working to move you forward on your path and mission? Would you like that?
Oof, yeah. That's a big yeah.
Yes. Yes. And would you like an infinity healing fully aligned with your ultimate career, ultimate job, ultimate purpose, and to find many ways to thrive financially and on all levels, feeling deeply fulfilled, aligned in your ultimate purpose, thriving financially and on all levels from your life purpose? Would you like that?
Yes.
Yes. And to conclude with some raps, I have this rap where I go, so that's it. And so it is. So just allow all the energies to work with you. And while they're integrating, I'll just do a rhyme. I believe in just one thing, infinite abundance for all beings, so we can live like kings and queens, doing what makes our hearts sing. I believe in the new currency of trust and of equality for my brothers and sisters, because we all came here to be. We all came from the source. We've come a long way from home. We've got a long way to go. Share with everyone that you know. Everything they told us is wrong ever since the time we were born. We gotta break free from this prison planet we're on. So don't hate on us when we're sharing our love. We just want to liberate you so you can rise up above. We're made of the same stuff. We're made of the same dust. If we can regain trust, then we will remain tough. Separation's a lie, evolution's a lie. Don't believe in everything that you can see with your eyes, and we're banging our drums because the time has now come. Let's take a stand for what is right until we have won. Let's take a stand for what is right until we have won. Hey,
Whew.
conscious loop. Mic drop.
Mic drop.
Oh man,
Oh my
I love this. You
gosh,
create great
wow.
space for great interviews. I love this. You're so good at what you do. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, you make this so fun. So I'm so glad that we got to do this. And it's
Thanks,
just
guy.
one of many to come. I'm
One
looking
of
forward
many.
to
Yeah,
hosting
don't we
you
have an
again.
uncoupling
And
podcast coming up soon?
yeah, we got an uncoupling one coming up. So stay
Yeah.
tuned, folks, for that one. And yeah, let us know what you enjoyed. I'll put the links in the show notes for all of your programs and different things that people can get access to as well.
Thank you.
So check it out. And
yeah, all Indigo Profit for the 6 albums. If you type in Indigo Profit on all streaming platforms, and then tarekbibi.com will give you access to all my socials, but Tarek Bibi on all the socials. Everything I put is there to help you evolve, remember, activate. Tons of value. 90% of what I charge for is there for free. And then we have a special gift for you guys. You can join my Abundance Inner Circle. If you go to tarekbibi.com/free gift, we've got a 30-day free you join my Inner Circle Abundance membership, and try us out for 30 days.
Yes, please do. So good. I've loved everything that I've got to participate in. And check out some of those conscious raps for some more mic drop moments.
Yes.
All right. Well, so grateful for you. Thank you so much for sharing yourself with us, your time, your energy, your wisdom, your love, your stories, all of it. So I appreciate you. Sending you so much love. And I can't wait till next time.
Thanks, Kat. I appreciate you.
Like what you heard and want more? Stay connected with our community on social media using the links below. Like us on your favorite podcast provider and sign up for the Conscious Loop newsletter, where we only send you goodies with one intent: to break your unconscious loops. If you have an unconscious loop you want to break free from, let us know so we can feature that loop on the show. Info and show notes, and we'll see you next time in the Conscious Loop.